What up, world? Established Rich coming right back at you. Let me start by saying this loud and clear. It's not about whether or not you like Sean Diddy Combs. This is not about whether or not you think he's a good person. We all know he has demons, we heard the stories, and we've seen the videos. But that's not what he's convicted of. He beat the trafficking charges. He beat the big charges that they thought would bury him. The jury didn't buy it, they couldn't prove it, so what was left? The Mann Act, an outdated, dusty law from 1910. 2 counts of hiring prostitutes. That's it. And now he faces 10 years behind bars for that. Does that sound fair?
Sean Diddy Combs is pushing for a near immediate release from prison as he awaits sentencing. In a new court filing, his lawyers argued that since Combs was acquitted of the most serious sex trafficking charges, he should face a much lighter punishment than the more than 7 years recommended by probation officials. The sentencing memo says Diddy has already endured harsh conditions during his year at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. His attorneys claim he's been on constant suicide watch, had limited access to clean water, and was often served food that was not healthy or edible. They argue that under those circumstances, his time behind bars has been far more punitive than the typical sentence of similar offenses. The filing includes more than 75 letters of support from family, friends, and colleagues, among them his mother, his children, and even ex-girlfriend Young Miami. His lawyers say Combs has made the most of his time in custody, sought treatment, and shown marked improvement in his behavior. But the disgraced music mogul still faces serious consequences. Back in July, he was convicted of 2 counts of prostitution, each carrying up to 10 years in prison. During that trial, jurors heard emotional testimony from several women, including ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, who accused him of abuse and assault. Combs' sentencing is scheduled for October 3rd, and beyond the criminal case, he continues to fight dozens of civil lawsuits from men and women accusing him of sexual misconduct and other illegal activity, allegations he has consistently denied.
Now let me break it down for the people in the back.
Let's talk about the Mann Act. This law was written over a century ago, designed to police morality. Originally, it was about stopping white slavery. But let's be honest, it was just used to target black men. Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion, was destroyed by the Mann Act. Chuck Berry, the father of rock and roll, was locked up under the Mann Act. And now here we are in 2025, and we got Sean Combs under the Mann Act. Not for violence, not for trafficking, not for sexual assault, but for paying for sex. Something that happens every minute in every major city in this country. And look, I'm not saying Diddy is an angel. I'm not saying he's a good boyfriend or a good role model. His own lawyer admitted he was guilty of domestic violence. And that alone makes him a terrible man in certain areas of his life. But this ain't about whether or not he's a good person. This is about whether the government can strip a man's freedom, lock him in a cell, destroy his legacy, all because he paid for sex. Do you hear how ridiculous that sounds? Now let's look at the reality. He's been in jail over a year. One of the most notorious federal facilities in America, on routine suicide watch. Limited access to clean water, limited access to food. And for what? For something people in corporate America, Hollywood, and politics do every single day? But they don't get locked up. They get protected. They get covered. So why is he still sitting in there? Why is he the one being made an example of? This ain't about morality. This ain't about prostitution. This is about power. This is about control. This is about making sure that when they come after you, they don't leave empty-handed. The sex trafficking case fell apart. The big charges didn't stick. So they said, we'll take what we can get. And now he's being punished for a crime that shouldn't even be on the books anymore. Now let me speak directly to my people. We know this story. We've seen it before. Jack Johnson, Chuck Berry. The Mann Act has been the weapon of choice against us for over 100 years. But here's the part you really need to hear. Even if this wasn't a black man, this would still be an outrage. This is not just a black issue. This is an American issue. This is about liberty. This is about fairness. And this is about freedom. Because if they can do it to him, they can do it to anybody. Now think about the message this sends. You can be cleared of the biggest charges. You can be found not guilty of the headlines that made people hate you and still end up locked away. Because they gonna dig until they find something. And if all they find is dust, they'll use the dust to bury you. Now let's talk about the sentencing memo. His legal team is begging for mercy. They saying, look, he's already served a year. He been through hell. Let him go home. They're arguing he should get no more than 14 months. And guess what? He's already done that time. And we got to be real. This is not about the law. This is about the image. This is about a judge, a prosecutor, and a system that want to say, look, we got him. They don't care if the punishment fits the crime. They care about the headlines. They care about saving face. And that's the most dangerous kind of justice there is. So I'm going to take it out like this. This is not about whether or not you like Diddy. This is not about whether or not you think he's a good person. This is about principle. This is about liberty. This is about freedom. And if they can bend the law to keep him caged, they can bend the law to keep you caged. And that's why we should all be paying attention. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe, establish rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.